Hi, welcome to Verse of the Day. My name is Brandon Hathaway, preacher at the Westside Church of Christ in Owensboro, Kentucky. I want to thank you for joining me today as we open up the Bible and study the Word of God. Apologies, I didn't do this the last couple of days. Saturday, oldest boy had a tournament, and so he's leaving off early in the morning. And yesterday, I don't know what happened yesterday. It just somebody told me yesterday, hey, you didn't do your Verse of the Day. And I had to be honest that I didn't cross my mind yesterday, and so I apologize as we finished up the study in Genesis and entered in our study into Exodus. And so we're in Exodus chapter 2. I hope you took time to finish Genesis, and then chapter 1 was yesterday of Exodus, and of course that is the death of Joseph. Starts off with that, restating that, and then the children of Israel growing and multiplying greatly, and as they grew greatly, of course, new pharaohs had taken control, who did not remember Joseph, and they look at Israel as they're getting so large, and they might join our enemies. And if they join our enemies, then we won't be able to stand against them. And so they try to be harsh on them and enslave them, and that didn't stop them from multiplying. And so then he tries to get the midwives to kill all the male boys of the Hebrews, and they would not do that because they feared God. And so they continue to multiply, and then the Pharaoh told the Hebrews that they need to just throw their male children in the river. And so that leads us to chapter 2 as we get into Moses and his birth, his mother willing to hide him until she could no longer do it, and then putting him in a basket, ark, a small thing that could hold him, and of course the Pharaoh's daughter finding him, raising him, but he was also with his mother, real mother, for a time being until he was weaned. Basically she became his midwife, or a servant of the Pharaoh. And so picking up in verse 11 is where I'm at. I want to read today 11 through 14 as Moses is going about and seeing how the Egyptians are treating the Hebrews, his brethren. So verse 11 says, Now it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out to his brethren and looked at their burdens. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So he looked this way and that way, and when he saw no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 Hebrew men were fighting, and he said, the one who did the wrong, Why are you striking your companion? Then he said, Who made you prince and judge over us? Do you intend to kill us as you killed the Egyptians? So Moses feared, said, Surely this is known. And this is when he flees from Egypt, and of course eventually meets his wife and father-in-law and becomes a shepherd. And so as we take a look at this, though, and if you take the time to go study Acts, in Acts chapter 7, it says some stuff about this also, kind of rehashes it out. But it makes the extra point that Moses, at this time and point, the reason he stuck up for him is that he thought that he was in this position to deliver and to help the Hebrews, help his brethren. And he thought that they would see that. They would see that because he was, a prince of Egypt. He was raised by the Pharaoh's daughter, an heir of Egypt. He thought that they would see that he was put in this position by God to do good for them. But when he approached them, instead they turned on him and said, well, you going to kill us too? And so that's why he fled. To me, it's interesting, though, is the fact that you get so quick, and we get a few times throughout the Word of God that you get this reaction, maybe with Peter and some others, that you have a great amount of faith right here. Like Moses is like, I'm here to do good. And so he stood up for his brethren and saved them from being beat. But then the next day, when he tries to stand up for his brethren and says, why are you guys fighting amongst yourselves? They called him out on it. And so now his reaction is to flee. Instead of fighting, his reaction is to flee. And then when what we're going to get into, God calls Moses to go back and to deliver his people. Moses is like, no, I'm not the right guy. And so he kind of goes back and forth on, okay, I'm the guy that God's chosen. I'm not the guy that God's chosen. I am, and so he kind of goes back and forth. And so we have to realize, I think it's a good example for us that we can have those hills and valleys, mountains and valleys, the highs and the lows. Also, that is something that we all as humans go through. That we have those moments where we're zealous and ready to do what is right, and then we have those moments where we fear and we flee. But we need to continuously try to get back on track and put our trust and faith in God. It's just something that kind of struck my mind as you're reading through here. At one moment Moses is ready to do what needs to be done, but quickly changes that he runs away, and then while he's gone over time, it seems like it's kind of went away from his mindset. And so when God does call him later on, that we'll study about, he's not ready to go back to that work. Well, sometimes when we're not ready, God says you have to go anyways. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. I want to thank you for joining me. Hope you study this chapter, and Lord willing, we'll look at chapter 3 tomorrow. So thank you again. If the Lord's willing, I'll talk to you later.